Major funding for these broadcasts has been provided by grants from Madison Realty Capital, New York Community Bank, M&T Bank, AmTrust Title, Customers Bank, Ariel Property Advisors, Capital One Bank, Sterling National Bank, Marks Paneth LLP, Meridian Capital Group. Additional funding has been provided by grants from Nieporent Bank, AVR Realty Company, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, Briarwood Organization, B6 Real Estate Advisors, CBRE, Chase Commercial Term Lending, Chase Mortgage Lending, Citizens Bank, Collins Building Services, CPEX Real Estate Services, Douglaston Development Levine Builders, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Handro Properties Handler Real Estate Organization, Hodges Ward Elliott INC, Investors Bank, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Institute at Syracuse University, John Casamatidis Red Apple Group, Kilroy Architectural Windows, Matone Group, Newmark Knight Frank, Optimum Window Manufacturing Corp., People's United Bank, Rockefeller Group, Rosewood Realty Group, RPW Group, SJP Properties, Stonehenge NYC, TD Bank, Terra CRG, the Merringore Family Foundation, and these friends. So what's happening in the restaurant business in New York? You know, who knows what's happening? What's opening new? What are the new trends? I don't really know that, so I have to rely on my friend and executive producer, Drew Nieporent, who's been here celebrating his 30th performance on broadcast with me. So today, Drew has brought some of his friends, including one that I went after, who I happen to have a number of times on my show, to talk about how you endure success, how you get involved with the restaurant business, and what are the problems or the opportunities out there. As I would say, each restaurateur or owner is going to identify themselves. Mr. Nieporent.
Yes, well, I have the famous Nobu restaurants and also Tribeca Grille for the last 29 years and Batard in Tribeca, and amongst other things. But
wait a second, how could you forget the hamburger place at the Madison
Square
Garden?
And we do the hamburgers at Madison Square Garden, absolutely.
Next.
I'm David Burke, and I am a chef.
You've been here about 5 times also.
Mainly, I'm in New York City, Dave Burke Tavern. We have Woodpecker in New York. We're at the Garden City Hotel in Long Island, Jersey Shore, and Seabright, and up in Saratoga, as well as St. Louis is new, and D.C.
The next gentleman.
My name is Jonathan Benno, and 8 months ago we opened Leonelli Taverna, Leonelli Focaccia Pasticceria, and then 4 months ago we opened a fine dining restaurant called Benno, all down on 27th Street between 5th and Madison.
And last but not least, our person who grew up in Chicago, who's a Midwesterner over here, who subsequently went to a place that Drew never would go to, where I was born and bred, Brooklyn.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
So yeah, my name's Greg Baxtrom. I'm the chef and owner of Olmsted Restaurant in Brooklyn. It's over by Prospect Park.
How'd you create the name Olmsted?
Olmsted is named after Frederick Law Olmsted, who is the famed landscape architect who did Central Park and Prospect Park and a whole bunch of other national parks. A lot of them are in the Northeast, but he also did the grounds for the Chicago World's Fair. Like you said, I'm from Chicago, so it just sort
I
of
thought it
makes
was
sense.
Always from the reason because of Brooklyn. I didn't realize it was Chicago.
No, there's that, and if you look at a lot of quotes that he's done, they're kind of chef-esque. They're very stern and strict.
One thing you didn't say is that you did work for this chef before.
I did. Well, you didn't give me the opportunity yet. Okay. But yes. When I moved to New York, it was to work for Chef Benno at Per Se.
Now, the three chefs over here have all worked at premier 3-star New York Times, Michelin-rated type of restaurants. How do you see the world today to go into the restaurant business?
For me, I mean, I really, I tried to work at all the best restaurants in the world so that way I can then open up my own version of that. And once I got to the place where I felt confident enough to do so, I didn't really feel that that was what anyone really wanted anymore. And so or at least that I wasn't in a position to command that yet, to command an expensive tasting menu and you know, just being some unknown person to try to open up a fine dining restaurant that was expensive.
Yeah, but you opened up as an unknown person, no, but as a known chef.
Yeah.
A new restaurant.
Well, a chef that was known maybe in the industry, but not by the public. And so, you know, I just went in a different direction. A really important mentor of mine in Chicago gave me some advice that I didn't really take to heart until much later on. I didn't really understand what he meant by it, but he's really simply put, when you open up a restaurant, okay, Greg, you've worked at all these great restaurants, you can tourne a potato, you can do all this stuff, but is your mother going to be comfortable in your own restaurant? And I sort of ignored that for a long time, and I really wanted some austere, interesting, intellectual restaurant. And then when push came to shove, I couldn't fund that restaurant. That restaurant cost millions of dollars, and I couldn't get anyone to give me millions of dollars. And so once I narrowed it down to small dining room, just some type of outside space, and I prefer to eat at the bar, literally 3 months later, I found my space and the investor, the small amount. I mean, we opened up Olmsted with $300,000.
The opposite on our next gentleman over here, who spent 6.5 years at Lincoln, okay, and previously with Per Se and numerous other places. How was the change from being a chef to a chef owner?
I sleep a lot less. I worry a lot more. But, you know, what Greg said about following a path and working for great people and trying to learn as much as I possibly could about not just cooking, but about running a business before I set out to do it on my own. I mean, I tried for close to 10 years to find a space, find investors, through 2 ups and downs in the economy. And 6 years ago, I met Shimmy and Gerald, our partners at the Evelyn. And it took us 5 years to get it.
5 years?
From conception to inception. You know, it was 5 years before we opened.
So how did you decide to open up a bakery, a restaurant, a fine dining restaurant, and more of a casual restaurant? How was the determination?
Well, I mean, we were just talking about, you know, doing more than one store. And I have a wife and 2 small children. You know, do I want to get on a plane every other week and fly to Chicago or Los Angeles or San Francisco?
Oh, you mean like the other guy over here who's the...
No, I mean I knew that one restaurant wasn't going to be enough. I knew that I wanted to try to do everything that I've learned, everything that I've practiced in my career, to try to find a location that would allow me to do that, to do a bakery, a casual Italian restaurant, and a fine dining restaurant.
Now, what's interesting, and because I'm going to get to David in a second, 6.5 years ago when you met Shimmy and his partner, that was the beginning of the Nomad neighborhood, okay? It hadn't been started. I mean, the Ace was the first one, and then the Nomad Hotel. But 27th Street didn't have the character or the restaurateurs or even the neighborhood for people. The world has changed, okay? The good opportunity is that it took you a little longer because you're more in an established neighborhood. You're on 27th Street. You're over there on 30th Street. So let's talk about how you entered the Woodpecker and the Tavern and what you're doing today.
When I left the River Cafe, I went to Park Avenue Cafe 90 on 63rd. So it was on the Upper East Side. So we'll take care of David Burke Tavern first. So we ran that with Alan Snellman for 10 years. Opened David Burke and Donatella on 63rd. And when that closed, we went into David Burke Tavern, which was once Fishtail, owned by me anyway. So we just changed the name, created a new lease. So that's on the Upper East Side. I was going to do a space in the building with the owner of the building in the basement and on the corner of 30th and Broadway. Somebody else was opening a pizzeria restaurant, and it failed. It didn't open. Something happened. He asked me if I'd be interested in opening a wood-burning concept or pizzeria. I said, I don't want to do a pizzeria, but I'll do a wood-burning restaurant with pizza, which is how Woodpecker came about. So that was a walk-in. That was a job, instead of putting money in like I had done with David Burke and Donatella and threw all the chips in, Donatella and I put our own cash in 92, built a brand, a recognizable one where you get to the point where you don't put money in anymore. So after your first one, hopefully. Because, after the brand recognition of opening in Bloomingdale, Chicago, and this and that, people will seek out a tried and true brand, which is what happened at Woodpecker. So he said, we'd like to put your name on this and you run an operation. Let's negotiate a deal. That's a no money in from my side deal.
What about Chicago today and the other areas? Garden City. Because,
Garden City is a consulting partnership. And we do the DB Global, which is my consulting company. We do that with various hotels and restaurants, either new ones or existing ones, where we come in and do 7-year consulting deals.
Drew, you've been in the consulting business in the restaurants for your entire career, probably. How do you see?
Well, not really. At the beginning, it was like a dirty word to me, the word consultant. So I still don't like to be called a consultant. I don't go in there and tell them what to do and then leave. We put a manager there. We put a chef there.
Management deals.
Yeah, but the world's changed. It's great to hear their stories, because I project to 34 years ago when I opened my first restaurant, and it's very similar. Sometimes the economics of a neighborhood dictate that you have to be there. Like I wanted to be Midtown, but I could only afford Tribeca. I'm still in Tribeca 34 years later. Greg's in Brooklyn. The rents were cheaper there. I don't know what you're paying, but hopefully it's reasonable. And then I don't know what kind of arrangement you have at the hotel, but typically, those are arrangements where you're not suffocated. But I think the biggest problem we have, Michael, is very simple. We used to make money because food was cheap, labor was cheap, and the rent was cheap. So we made a dime on the dollar. Now, every chef wants to work with the best products. Food is not cheap. The labor, as we know, the hourly has gone haywire.
The minimum wage over the past 3 years in New York City has gone up 63.5%.
Exactly.
Your pricings cannot go up 63.5%.
And the rent is insane. It's insane. So, what's great is you have 3 chefs where they've been able to be successful in their careers because the food is that much better than somebody else's. Their food is not run of the mill. It's very personal. Olmsted, he has a number of signature dishes that are unique to his own craft. He worked for Grant Achatz, who arguably is the greatest chef in the country at Alinea. When I spoke to Grant about Greg years ago, I just called Greg to find who's talented. He said, that's the guy right there. That's the dude. And then Jonathan, it goes without saying, he was the right hand to Thomas Keller for many years at Lincoln. David Burke, River Cafe, tremendous. You go to their restaurants, you're going to get an exalted product.
So what do we see as the biggest challenge? I hear the minimum wage, there's no question. I hear the labor laws, the vacation rules, the sick pay rules over there. You can price certain things up to a certain level, okay? People will pay up to a point. So what are the challenges facing 2 new entrepreneurs? What's the challenges facing you? How do you keep the vibe going? How do you keep the years of the reputation going?
Well, you got to be adaptable. The lunch business has basically gone away in certain neighborhoods because nobody drinks at lunch. You can't charge that much. You can get a decent salad. You can wait in line and eat out of a bag now, which seems to be cool, and order it online. And the delivery system has pulled people away from going out for lunch to a certain degree. So you miss part of that service. Now, that's good and bad depending on where you are, because to serve lunch, you're still paying. The minimum wage puts you have to raise your prices so high to be, if you don't do 150 lunches, it's really not, it's hard to stay open for lunch because you're getting whatever you check.
Which is what happened in the meatpacking district. Similar situation. Too many of the restaurants couldn't survive being open for lunch because there was not enough traffic over there.
Well, lunch and food costs and labor costs go up. So you're more successful if you can do dinner only and be really busy, at least in my world. Unless you're Woodpecker, where it's a quick service for lunch.
But the argument is always you come in early to prep your food, so you're already there. So why not open for lunch? That was the old way of thinking.
Because
I mean, I didn't.
needed a couple waiters.
My first restaurant, 1985. I wasn't open for lunch except one day a week.
Yeah, but nobody wanted that
We
neighborhood.
did that we did at 150
let's be
in one
realistic.
day.
When you went there, nobody thought of Tribeca.
Well, that's
when
true.
you opened up Montrachet, I mean, it was a different world.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a totally different.
different world.
Marketing has changed in the restaurant business too. Everyone can really promote their own restaurants now with Instagram and
Well,
social media.
that's
so we
very
can we can all say how great we are, right? We don't, in the PR business now, at the expense of having a PR company and a social media company, you got to figure out which one is really working for you. But years ago, when I get 3 stars at the River Cafe, that lasted for 2 years.
Right,
Those
because
reviews back in
you know
Gourmet
what, we didn't have.
now you get a review that lasts less time.
We didn't have all these different media, social
Correct.
media products, okay, which are very good, but also could be dangerous for you. Okay?
Well, a lot of them are geared to younger people. Like it's really fascinating when like infatuation has so much pull. Like even just bloggers that I don't really know, and I'll get texts from friends of mine saying my favorite blogger just was at your restaurant. Did you say hi to this person? And I don't know who that person is,
Right.
but it's someone with maybe a couple 100,000 followers, and they're in town from LA or from Norway or something. And I'll get more texts from that than like my New York Times review.
Yeah, but I'll give you an example. I think you had the person who owns Goop.
Yeah.
She came to your restaurant. She has enormous followers, coupled with she has her own publication, this Goop publication. So that.
But that led to a whole bunch of.
That opened up the world to you for a different world.
Yeah, they all do. They're all different avenues. I used to be the personal chef for the Seinfelds, and that's how I know Gwyneth Paltrow. And then that led to at least 5 different articles within her brand, and like.
Yeah, but there was an article written about you.
It takes following all of those.
When you said, I was the personal chef. It was an easier life. I didn't have to work that hard. So why did you give up the easy life of being a personal chef?
It was Matt Orlando, the chef of Amasa in Copenhagen, who told me, he warned me not to get comfortable with it. He said, give yourself a 2-year time frame and not do it any longer than that. Otherwise, you're not going to want to get back into the game. And I took that to heart.
You see, for the old man over here, when he opened up Montrachet, if Byron Miller didn't come into his restaurant, and he set up, that was the thing that made it, because we didn't have social media at that time.
You used to get a New York Times review, and you could take that to the bank. Now, we won Best New Restaurant 2014, Batard. It's in the Montrachet space. We got 3 stars from the New York Times. We basically got every accolade. And still, you have to fight every day for your covers. Yeah. We just came out of Restaurant Week. We're charging normally a certain price. Restaurant Week comes around, it's $42.
Right.
We basically had 140 on the book on the first day of Restaurant Week for the 3 weeks that Restaurant Week ran. I don't know if you did you do Restaurant Week?
We did not do it this year.
You didn't do it.
I didn't
do it.
And you can't do it. And
we like.
We don't do it.
We will this summer.
Yeah. No,
and we will next January too.
Yeah.
It was just
Well,
it was too soon for us.
but it just shows you.
Works,
it shows you that price still matters. And in a time right now where prices have gone haywire. I don't know if you've been out lately, but if you look at a wine list, you're hard pressed to find a wine, any wine, under $60.
Right.
The cheapest wine being less than 60. I mean, it's mind-boggling. I was at the Super Bowl, and I look up at the menu, and it said hot dog $2. I said, $2 what? It said, the hot dogs are $2. I said, well, where am I, in the Depression? I mean, but Arthur Blank and the Atlanta Falcons, they charge $2 for a hot dog all season long, even during the Super Bowl. So there is a God. Somewhere, Michael, we can get the
There's a hot dog God.
No, there's a hot dog God. Water was $2 too, and a mixed drink was $9. I mean, in New York, that would be $15.
But, you know, the other thing is, you know, the restaurants such as the one these guys are operating and I operate, you know, we can do, I'm sure you can do some pastry and you can do some other things. There's other chefs that can't do everything. So you depend on a high-priced pastry chef or a high-priced sous chef. But if you're in there working, you're actually saving somewhat of a salary. Now, I can't be in my restaurant every night because I have several. But when you're at a certain point, you're there all the time. So before you expand, you got to realize it's going to cost you more. And you're going to lose maybe 10% of
having
your
a
quality.
bakery helps you that you have the opportunity
Yes,
over
well-
it.
Well, that's why was one of the reasons why I wanted to do all three, is I could have one talented pastry chef, I could have one talented baker for all three operations. I mean, there's efficiencies in the three operations under one roof.
How many chef owners check their pricing and calculate the cost to determine how much to charge? And I think there was an article written that you do that more than most people.
I think that's
A necessity.
yeah. You're right. It's a necessity.
I think no. I
can't. Am I a responsible business owner if I don't know?
I was with a
cost
friend
of goods?
in a different food type of business, and I was quoting basically you saying to him, when you're determining what you're charging, he's in the catering business, and I said, when you're charging this, how are you looking your markup? Are you taking depreciation? Are you taking in the cost of labor? Is that how you determine your pricing?
We do it different ways, but yes. I mean,
How do you do-
there's not a formula for every dish. You're not going to make the same markup
I
on every
agree.
dish or every wine. Sometimes, you know, for example, I learned years ago, if we had a squab dish on the menu with foie gras, the least selling dish on the menu. I loved it. So I marked it down in price. We gave it away because we didn't sell it. And we marked up something that was popular and made the difference.
In a similar manner, like Drew was talking before about Restaurant Week. Restaurant Week, in certain cases, is a lost leader, hopefully helping you build new customers. Do you see Restaurant Week as valuable to keep the restaurant?
We created Restaurant Week in 1992. And basically it was a 1992 luncheon, which I remember the whole thing, you know, Tim Zagat was there, Joseph Baum, all the great restaurateurs. And they say, Nick, you charge $19 for dinner at the Brasserie. Why don't we do that for lunch? And I was thinking to myself, that's expensive for lunch. But what made it work was they got restaurants like Le Cirque, the Quilted Giraffe, everybody participated. So when the top tier restaurants got sold out, it filtered down. Now there's like 300 restaurants in the program. It doesn't resonate in the same way, but it still resonates because the prices are less expensive.
Right, and I believe that it gives an opportunity for someone who might have not gone to that restaurant to go to the case.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, I did a number of shows on Broadway, and I said to these producers, you know, you get X dollars for a Broadway show. And their comment to me is, when the people come in from out of town, they know they're going to spend more money, and they work hard to save the extra money to go to the finer restaurants, to go to the Broadway theaters. Now, how much of your business today would you say are from visitors to New York, and how much business from New Yorkers?
I remember one time Missy Robbins having dinner with her, and she asked me what my food cost was, and I said it was 28%, and she just called me out and said, bullshit, because hers is a lot better than mine. But we just don't charge anything more than $24, and our wine list, at least it started with 60 bottles under $60. And for me, just by looking at the restaurants and seeing that was the most expensive average was about $28, and just taking $4 off and having an affordable wine program, I think that really is what helps solidify us to having both a lot of neighborhood people, but then we also try to have chefy food and interesting food, and then we get
Jonathan?
people from all over the place.
We may be a little skewed. I mean, we're in a 155-room hotel, so I think our bakery and our casual restaurant, we see a lot more. We see a lot more hotel traffic. The fine dining restaurant, thanks in part to the reviews recently, we see a lot of New York traffic.
David? I mean, because you're on
New York
TV a lot,
traffic.
and
We get national traffic, some international because of the Regency Hotel and the Pierre and reputation. But the most important thing for us is repeat business, which is the
See,
neighborhood.
we used to call them tourists.
I
and it
didn't
was a-
use,
it was
you
a
heard,
bad
I
thing.
didn't use that word tour.
No, and it was a bad thing.
Right,
because you
I
wanted
say
an-
visitors to New York.
Right, no.
That's the public term now,
You wanted
or
a New York restaurant. Now we call them visitors, and you know, we'll take as many as we can get our hands on.
And what about you at your places, the 3 leading places?
They have to account at least, especially in the Nobus. I mean, the Nobus are pushing volume that is insane.
yeah.
We did 450 last night on the Sunday. I
Wow.
mean, it's incredible. Magic Johnson was in, by the way, your friend. But I mean, you know, we need the visitors. I mean, the Olmsted, it's a great story because he basically opens. Not everybody, people in the industry might have known him, but not the general public. But he built a reputation, and with signature dishes, good food,
Right,
good prices,
signature dishes and social media.
and 3 stars for
Okay,
Benno.
3 stars.
3 stars still.
No, I know. I mean, the reviews have
But a
been
great
great.
a great 3-star review is, you know, there's 3-star reviews, and then there's 3-star reviews that are like 4-star reviews.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do in a couple of months is see how the new restaurateurs are doing. I'm going to invite them back to talk, you know, 1 year in business, what's going to happen.
Sure.
How they like the change of working for someone to be an owner. And I'd like to thank my friend Drew, David, Jonathan, and Greg, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.